Bienvenidos a Esperanza Pense. Donde la Esperanza Pense? Welcome to Esperanza Pense, where hope wins. My sister gave me this deck of cards. She's hilarious. She says I'm like Sophia. Like I'm like a little lady. She's been saying that since I was like 16. Like way before I became one. Hey! So it's the big day, huh? We're gonna do the live stream tonight. And we hope to, fire each other up in all the right ways, right? I think that a lot of these card decks cannot handle my aggressive shuffling style. My usual working Rider-Waite Tarot deck, as those of you who come back to the KWIK HIT Tarot on the daily, we're here every day, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m., just with a quick insights and spiritual, we just sort of strengthen our intuition together, and yeah, thanks for being here. Thank you for fine-tuning your free will and intuition with me, as I like to say. But yeah, today, live stream, we'll be talking about the recent new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius at 28 degrees, almost 29 degrees, right at the end of Aquarius. And, that's our reading. Today, we have Saturn and Neptune conjunct. Oh, cool. Awesome. Well, we got some cool cards. Awesome. Here you go. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. All right, well, happy Venus Day, and as you know, it's Venus Day, and we pulled the Three of Swords reversed, the Empress, which is Venus energy incarnate, Ace of Swords, Eight of Swords reversed. Love seeing those in reverse. Four of Swords. And the King of Pentacles. Interesting. All feminine cards. All Dorothy. Wow. But as far as being feminine, right? Dorothy is like the most masculine of the feminine of the Golden Girls, right? So I chose the Golden Girls deck today because my working deck is missing in action, literally no idea where it is, but also because the Golden Girls, golden years, that's Saturnian influence. Saturn and Neptune are conjunct at 0 degrees of Aries. Aries is a youthful sign, but Saturn is elder. Saturn is structure. Saturn has experience. Saturn is respect. Saturn is boundaries. Saturn is you already fafoed, now you know. And in the mixture with Aries, with that sort of pink vibe, that the bright sort of fiery colors of Aries, I feel like Neptune, the dreaminess, the wateriness, the Neptunian nature of Florida, where the Golden Girls live. Like, I feel like that, yeah, you can really see that represent there, Florida. But that Neptunian vibe, that Floridian vibe, right? Along with the Saturnian elder influence in Aries, which is sort of, it's new starts, you know. The four of them decide to be roommates on a new chapter in their lives. Like, even though they're already retired and some people would have hung it up by now, they're starting a whole new chapter in their lives and they're doing youthful things, and they're every single episode like they're on something, right? And they're willing to take new adventures and stumble some too. And that's very Aries, right? So, yeah, here's the deck for our vibe. Three of Swords reversed is excellent energy to see in reverse because the swords in tarot have to do with our mentality. Dorothy, of course, is a teacher in this series. And teachers give a lot of information. They give and receive a lot of information, and they're very intellectual, a lot of them. She's also very caring, but she represents the swords probably because she's so darn smart. And she doesn't take any bullshit from nobody. And with the Three of Swords reversed, you know, we may have had pain, we may have suffered some, we may have let our thoughts get the better of us in the past, we may have let other people's electricity and other people's thought daggers hurt our frickin' heart. And with this in reverse, no more, no more, no more. No more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. What you say? I have to do it. I have to do a name that tune, don't I? I don't know why. I've just like started doing that. Like, I think I've started doing that. I sometimes do it, you know, and lately I've been doing it more. The Empress is amazing energy. I can also see why Dorothy would have Empress energy. She's a freaking boss. You know what I mean? Empress energy is self-assured, confident. Definitely, she's fertile. She's got feminine energy, but she's got that wizened feminine energy. She's no spring chicken, and the Empress just also doesn't suffer fools. You know, the Empress is also representative of Taurus energy, of Venusian energy, okay? And Venus has to do with money and love. And she can also stand alone. Like she likes, she might be married, like with Dorothy and Stan. Like, Dorothy just prefers to do her own thing. Like, she could be in a partnership with Stan. They did get back together at some point, but like, she doesn't need him. And the Empress energy is very, you know, sovereign in that regard. Ace of Swords cuts through the BS. And if anybody's going to cut through the BS, you got to find your inner Dorothy and do it. You're gifted with the opportunity to bring forth messages of clarity and cutting out also thought patterns, behaviors. Mars is moving through Aquarius right now, so that would be a great time to cut out thoughts that are not useful to your health. Eight of Swords reversed, great, another great card, another great swords card. Swords to me are the toughest suit in the tarot. They're the hardest to deal with because it's like a lot of thoughts are thoughts are things, you know. Thoughts are things, and thoughts are things that we can change, and that's why it's tough because, you know, emotions, they come and they go, but thoughts are something that we can practice and practice and practice, and it's work and it's hard. And that's why swords, I think, are a little bit of a bummer in the tarot sometimes, because it's like they don't even cut you a break. They are just factual. And sometimes the truth hurts, Esperanza. But with the Eight of Swords in reverse, you know, we might be talking sweeter to ourselves. We might be talking nicer to ourselves. We're not going to leave ourselves hemmed in with these swords all around us and the blinders on, and us not noticing where we are having blind spots where we are our own worst enemy, where we're letting ourselves be left out in the cold and letting our feet get wet and cold. Wet, cold feet, oh my gosh, talk about Piscean energy. Because in the Eight of Swords in the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot deck, she's standing kind of like when the tide has gone out, she's kind of standing in the sand, and like at the ocean, how cold that is, and then you have your feet in these little puddles in the sand, but then when the tide comes back in, it'll sweep her away, right? If she doesn't figure out how to free herself. It's almost, symbolically representative of when, who got chained to the rock? Was it Medusa? Or she became Medusa? Anyway, Four of Swords, upright. I love to see this because this means that we're actually going to be able to enjoy some restorative rest. Sometimes Four of Swords times come around when we can set down our thoughts for a minute, set down our proverbial swords for a minute and just let them rest. And when we let our thoughts rest, and when we bask a little bit in the sun, or we relax, or we cocoon, we're comfortable at home, we're able to rest and rejuvenate ourselves, then we will be empowered for the battles that loom, because we got a lot of swords at hand. And then the King of Pentacles, well, gosh golly, he came up in our reading the other day too. What a helpful spirit, huh? King of Pentacles. They could have Virgo rising in their chart, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn energy. King of Pentacles is somebody who is caring, and again, they're sovereign. They are stable. They're not quite an emperor. Sometimes I say kings and queens are born and emperors and empresses are made. That's the difference for me in the tarot. I don't know if it's the difference in real life. Comment below what you think about that. This King of Pentacles is somebody that we can rely upon. This King of Pentacles is hardworking, and they're balanced they're a very practical person, and they have very practical things to say. The only caveat with that is that they could be a tad bit boring, maybe not the sharpest tool in the shed sometimes. They're not as sharp, they're better. I was gonna say they're better workers. Like they're good at work, and they're good at collecting coin, and they're good at figuring out how to bring home the bacon or the tofurkey or whatever, and feed not only his own family, but he can be stable for other people in his community as well. We love this guy. Love a good King of Pentacles. All right. So that is the energy that we're dealing with today with the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries. First time in a long time. Now, Saturn and Neptune, they conjunct, but not at this degree. This is a very, very literal, quite literal, fresh start energy. And yeah, I look forward to talking about it more in the very, very near future, like in a couple of hours. Later, taters. Oh, and that said, I'm going to skip the astrology part for today. I'll put up the chart so that you can look at it. I'll talk more about it during the live stream, okay? Thank you. Love you. Bye.